You're listening to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast.
When your heart is aching and your world is shaking, don't give up. No, don't give up.
Hello and welcome to Oh My Health, There Is Hope. I'm your host, Jana Short, and today I'm here with LaMont Shedrick. The word blockbuster has always stirred something up in LaMont that he has been passionate about for years. It was right in front of him for a decade. He didn't see it. LaMont has successfully distributed movies with 12th Century Fox Films.
20th Century Fox.
20th Century Fox. We have written down 12th, but it was 20th Century Fox Films. And I should know this, I live in the middle of Studio City. But his true calling is to help people connect with their purpose and their blockbuster lives. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love your bio, and I'm like beating it up, but it is amazing. LaMont is a motivational speaker, mentor, mindset coach, and is adamant about helping others to live their fullest potential. He utilizes his platform to partner with corporations, business owners, and professional leaders in discovering what's next and teach them how to be intentional in their mission. He's also the owner of LSG Leadership Coaching Group. Oh my gosh, I got through it, LaMont. Yay! Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I was so looking forward to connecting with you, Jana. It was such a pleasure to meet you personally. You are the female version of who I am. I think we're related. We may look a little different, but we may be related.
I don't think we look that much different. So one of the things we do here in Oh My Health, There's Hope is we share stories of hope. And I had spoken to you before, and I know you are really powerful stories. So you can take as long as you need to share that story. But after we're done, we're going to talk a lot about what LaMont's doing now. So do you want to share your story of hope with all of us?
Sure. You know, it's funny when we say a story, it's so ongoing. It's so fluid. But I finally got to the point 10 years ago of embracing the authenticity of who I am. I'm a sports guy, believe it or not. Out of high school, I received a football scholarship to Northern Arizona University. I was a wide receiver, and sports was so foundational for me because it really taught me about discipline, hard work, kind of leading, kind of getting comfortable with who I am as an athlete. Through those years, sports has taken me many places, but unfortunately, there's an expiration date. Just like in life, unfortunately, we are going to all go down that path. Well, sometimes in a career, I was pursuing being this athlete, injury hit me. I pulled my Achilles. And at that time, I believe you got to be 100% in. And focus, and I was so focused on being the best athlete that I could be, my career was kind of secondary. And although I was in college, I was, I hate to say this, doing just enough to get by at the time. And I say that deliberately because I want others, because I realize I'm never alone. We've all been in that place where you're just doing a little bit to get by. But during that moment, I said, whoa, what am I going to do? What's next? Who am I? Started having those conversations with myself. Lady I was dating at the time couldn't figure me out. I was like a box of chocolate. I really didn't know what I was going to get until I realized that I don't agree with that. Life is a box of chocolates, but you can know what you're going to get. And I went back to my dad. My dad was a big influence on me. I started writing things down. He taught me early on to make goals, write things, write your vision, figure out where you want to go. And I went back to the basics, and I started doing that. So I started planning out what I wanted to do. Well, how can I segue into this? And I pursued, as far as, sales, having a sales background. I went that route and pursuing a sales background, radio, met a few people, figured out radio was great, but there's another great industry called the movie industry, and there's theatrical distribution. So met someone in that program, and which led me to Fox, 20th Century Fox, worked with Fox Searchlight. So some of the greatest blockbuster movies of all time. Worked on a nice little independent movie with Fox Searchlight called The Full Monty. For those who haven't seen it, it's a great little independent movie. Worked on blockbusters like Star Wars, Avatar, Deadpool, over 271 movies. And I still, in my part-time world, I still work in that in that field in some capacity. But what I've learned is Hollywood is fascinating. They tell great stories. They really give people hope and vision. And at that moment, I came out of a screening, Jana, and I said, aha, this is what I want to do. I see so many people are seeking who they are through childhood heroes, actors, actresses. They wanted to dress like these celebrities they see on screen. And although that's amazing, it made me wonder, like, man, why don't people want to be themselves? Why are we so drawn to what's outside of us? Why not be drawn to what's inside of us? And I started with me, and I started to accept myself more, and I wanted to help others. I feel that, I hate to use this word, I mean, I don't like using just titles like mental health or people, but there is a dilemma in the world where people are wanting to be significant and not realizing if you're walking in this world, you're already significant. There's nothing you have to do other than to embrace yourself and live. Last night, I was just, on the plane. I'm usually a sleeper on a plane. I don't know how people could stay up and for the whole time, but for some reason yesterday, I found myself watching a whole bunch of documentaries. And I watched the one on Ralph Lauren and how he started his whole fashion empire. And he didn't go to school for it. He just, the way he would dress himself was on things he liked. And he liked that. And if he liked it, he felt like he wanted to be comfortable. He wanted to be who he was. And he wanted to help others do the same thing. Kind of like what we're doing as coaches and people, bringing that out. And it's a unique way of doing that. And for some reason, people just have a hard time going within. My mentor, John Maxwell, once said, it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. So I like to call myself being outside of that picture. I'm looking at it like this is the greatest creation ever made. And when I come along with my clients, my job is to listen with both my ears and to engage with my eyes and figure out what is it unique and help them to identify self. And I find that to be the greatest thing on earth to do. Is a joy when you see someone light up like a Christmas tree internally when they've finally been searching. And you have grown adults go through life never realizing who they are. And I think that's the greatest sickness in our world today. Just a little bit on who I am, Jana.
I love that. And I'm taking notes. Like, I'm not ignoring you. I'm taking notes because there's some really good things in here. Like, when you talk about a box of chocolate, people think that you never know what you're going to get. But the truth of the matter is, when I open a box of chocolate, my favorite are the caramels. And I know the squared ones are caramels, and I go for those first, right? The hard squared ones. And I know the ones that are kind of tall, even if they're round, that means there's a big yummy piece of caramel at the bottom. And the truth of the matter is, we get to pick. We get to choose. We have that power. And so I love that you brought that up, because I hear that all the time. I just never know. It's like a box of chocolates, right? And I love that. And it's great that we have so many options to choose from. But at the end of the day, we get to choose, even if that means sticking your finger in there and seeing what's in there first.
Right, exactly. I like that one. That's your freedom of choice is the greatest freedom of all. And I love that, because we can choose. I don't want that chocolate right there. I want this one. Oh, I found it. I love this one now.
Exactly. We have the choice. And I love that you not only talked about people duplicating their heroes and not finding their authentic true self, but yet you talk about, you understand the difference of working with a mentor. So I have a lot of mentors, people I look up to. I respect, I love what their messages out in the world, but I know that mine's different, right?
Mhm.
And it's okay to have mentors or see a superhero on TV or a sports person that you want to, follow in their footsteps. But as long as you're taking your authentic self with them, who knows, you may be 100 times better than them and inspiring children later on in your own journey. So I love that you brought that up as we're moving forward, because I see so many people who come to me to be branded or, become influencer, and they're like, I want to be just like this person because I love them. That's awesome, but you're not that person, right? You bring so many new, unique qualities that might even exceed what that person's doing.
Yes.
So be super excited about that.
Yes, very much so.
So, how are you doing with COVID? Do you have any suggestion, mindset tips for us to use? Because when this airs, I have a feeling we're still going to be in it.
Yes, most definitely. You know what is? I believe you define the words that are in our existence, and COVID is what you want it to be. COVID to me is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to go forward, not backwards. COVID is an opportunity of change. COVID is an opportunity. It means acceptance. It is here. It has, it has come. It is here, and it's eventually going to go away. So I accept that. COVID has affected many people's lives. I've accept that. But I also accept that I want to be on the other end of COVID. I want to be forward thinking. And I think that's important for us to as mindset coaches. We need to help not only ourselves, but our clients to realize, go forward. Let's deal with the now, but let's pay more attention to where we're going from here. And I want to be on that flip side of the story that told how it hit me, but I also want to tell that story of how it propelled me to the next great thing.
I love that. And I feel like everything in our journey should propel us somewhere else, right? It's even joy is a great place to be, but you don't live in it because you can't be in a joyful state all the time.
No.
I mean, I would prefer to be there 99.9% of the time, but we have to experience these things to understand like how joyful things can be. So I love that you're talking about moving into the future like that. And one of the things you said, I wrote it down because I loved it so much, is that mentor of yours who said that it's hard to see the picture if you're inside the frame. And I think that is so true. Like it's hard to move aside, step out and see it with a fresh perspective. Do you want to talk a little bit more about like what that might mean to you and others so that they can see maybe what all of us are seeing in them that they don't see in themselves?
Well, thank you. That's a great question. What I think that people don't spend enough time doing is really focusing on themselves, looking at themselves in a mirror. A picture's a picture, but for some reason think about how people get up in the morning and they rush through. They put on their clothes. They're taking a glance at who they are. And I think if people could realize and really fall in love with that, what reflects and accept that, good, bad, or indifferent, I think you're already a better person. But let's be honest, the people have a lot of scars, a lot of wounds, whether it's broken relationships, loss of jobs. And we tend to magnify those things that are difficult, where people have let us down. But if we could figure out a way to take off our glasses, if you have glasses on, if you still could see, and to really look at who you are and love who you are, falling in love with who you are. And that's why great mentors are necessary. That's why people like us are necessary, because we're not focused on that. We're focused on who they are right now to us. And to me, every human being that I see is wonderful. It's God's creation. I don't see racism. I don't see color. I see someone who's flesh and blood, just like I am. They want more for their family. They want one for their kids. And when we could get to that place, because I've been down and needed to get to that place, I find things to be much better. And I think that's where our coming alongside to help give people clarity, because that picture means many different things to whoever's in taking that vision. So it's important to have the right person who you're reflecting who you are too, if that makes sense.
It does. Now I'm going to throw a very unusual question to you. And because you're in the movie business,
Yeah.
you may already know this, but this just was brought to my attention when I was on a speaking thing the other day. And they talked about our flaws making us not only unique, but really special and relatable. And so they were talking about the filming of Superman.
Mm.
When they created Superman, it was a flop. It just did not do very well until they introduced Kryptonite, right? He had a weakness, and all of us can empathize with a weakness in ourselves. Like there was a way to bring Superman down. He had all of a sudden a vulnerability to Kryptonite. And so my question to you is, what was the hardest Kryptonite you've had to move past? Like, what is your flaw that you take and you make that powerful for you?
Oh, total transparency, trying to be a people pleaser. Trying to be all things to all people. Number one is draining. Number two, it's not who I am. And really it's self-hate in a sense. I hate to say that when you think about it. If you're trying to be someone that you're not, number one, you're not fully present. And so my kryptonite was, I used to want to be liked, wanted to be loved. I wanted to be appreciated. I wanted to be significant. And it took me time to realize I'm already those things. Through my spirituality, that helped. Through my associations. Remember, freedom of choice. You choose who you want to associate with. And that has really freed me. So when it shows itself again, because you're free. Freedom is a daily choice. So depending upon what we allow into our eye gate, our ear gate, can determine if you could go backwards or forward. So knowing that that's kryptonite to me whenever I engage, like even taking a meeting with you, Jana. Yes, I want your listeners to like me. I want you to like me. But honestly, the new LaMont doesn't care. If I could speak to just that one person that isn't feeling significant, I have done my job. And a lot of times when I speak, I'm always doing my job because I'm always speaking to myself. So to me, if it's like me, what I love when people are giving answered questions, it's like me talking to myself, although I know there's people listening. And to me, if I'm being transparent and being honest, I've won. So.
By the way, that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I recently just read an article where people were asked what they would want more of in their life, like what they feel like they're lacking over money, health. I'm trying to remember, education. 78% of the people put down that they were lacking connection and love. And so you are like, everybody is a people pleaser. Even if they say they're not, they really are. That's just their wall protecting them. And so I love that you shared that, because I think all of us have that little kryptonite within us wanting. I mean, how many times have you posted something, you're looking to see if anyone liked it, right? And if they liked it, did they comment on it? So I love that you brought that up, because that's what we're all as human beings. We're just trying to be loved and connect with others. And so that was a beautiful thing that you just brought up.
Well, thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what you do in your LSG leadership coaching group.
Well, number one, I'm not trying to reach everybody. I told you I still work in the movie industry. I'm the chief of distribution for Fall Line Entertainment, and we put out projects to inspire. We're dealing with faith. We're dealing with documentaries. So, which I love it because I get to do two loves that I have. So I only work with like 15 clients at a time. Currently, I'm working with 9 because I believe less is more. And I really love partnering with my clients. I really love going on their journey. And it allows me to really, it takes a lot of energy. So I love working with, I call them my top 15, you know. So COVID has knocked that down. And usually at the end of the year, I'm glad there's openings for others to, a few more to join, because we're approaching a new year. And what better way? I believe the new year starts when you say you're ready to start. January doesn't say is not start, ready, start, go, you know. Now is the day. So whoever's listening, and we share some commonality, because I believe you attract who you are. You want to attract those people who can help move you to that next level. And I love working with winners. But for me, you know, I deal with the mindset. I deal with people where they are, and help them to accomplish and attain those things that they need be. My client base is very collected, you know, working with a city councilman, working with a chef, you know, working with entrepreneurs and sales and, you know, candy stores, working with a artist. It varies, but the principles and the things that we do to get their mind free and clear to do what they love is the same. And I love it. I really love it. And that's the way that LSJ, my team, and I, we like to empower and move people into their true authenticity.
You know, you coach a lot like I do, as far as I'm very selective. I only take 20 clients at any given time. And I'm very picky about it. And one of the things on their questionnaire is I ask them, how much do you want to create this change on a scale from 1 to 10? Anything less than a 10, it's a qualifying question for me. Anything less than a 10, I tell them we're not ready to work together, because I'm a 10 coach, and I show up every single day for you at a 10. And if you're coming in at a 7 or an 8, you're not ready for that kind of change. And so I love that you are very selective, that you're not doing the masses, because it never works as well, right? We really can't hear what people are saying when there's hundreds. Right. And when we narrow it down to those few people that we can really build that rapport with, connect, and make a change in their life.
Yes, exactly. Because you know what? Some people I love salmon. Some people like trout. You know, I'm fishing for the salmon because I love salmon, you know. So, and I find when I'm eating or partaking in things that don't really enjoy, I do myself a disservice, and I also do them a disservice. So I'm glad we share that in commonality.
It is. And people are like a 10. And I'm so surprised. I had a guy, they met with me. I was really going to take them on as clients. They were phenomenal, young. And I said, what level are you at? And the one guy goes, I think I'm a 5. Like, I have this going on and this going on. And the other one goes, oh no, I'm like more like a 3. Right. And the other guy goes, I think I'm going to take it back. I probably am more like a 3. I'm like, I'm totally not your coach. You weren't ready for this. You're telling me like loud and clear that you're not ready for this kind of change in your life.
I tell you, traveling around the country and you know, some parts of the world, I realize I'm content in wherever state I am, but it's nothing like staying in a Ritz-Carlton, you know. I love Marriott. Thank you very much, Marriott. But the Ritz is, you know, that 5-star experience. And I believe that, you know, if you're alive today, you need that 5-star experience. You need someone who, you know, their mindset is on that level. And to me, yeah, I'm always trying to be in that top 1 to 3%, not 5%. And that's who I want. That's who I am. I associate with people like that, and I like that. And I believe everyone it's a mindset. It has nothing to do with what's in your bank account. It has what's to do with your mental account. And if your mental account is a 10, it's high level, trust me, the bank account's going to follow right behind.
100%. I'm always talking to clients about creating that beautiful blueprint. As a matter of fact, I just posted the other day something that said, a dream is only half of the story. Like, you can dream all you want, but if you don't put something in place, a plan in place on how to accomplish that dream, it's just a dream.
Yeah.
Not very many people, there are some, but not very many people literally fall face first into their dream and it just happened for them. They work for it. They sacrifice for it. They have sleepless nights and they spend a ton of money building their dreams. So there's a lot behind getting to that dream, and having a plan is the main step. That's the second half.
Yes, very much so.
So let's tell you everyone who because you have 9 spots. Let's tell everyone who that ideal client is. Like, what are the people who come to you? What kind of pain points are they trying to work on?
Number one is really, this is the number one right here. The pain point is they're tired of they finally reached a point, which I say is a beauty stage, where they're comfortable with being uncomfortable. And what does that mean? Meaning, if you're comfortable in your existence, you're not growing to me. And then when someone understands, like, LaMont, this is just, I'm just thinking about this. I'm just, man, I just don't know. I got this big dream, but it is making me uncomfortable. I'm like, you've got, and quite frankly, it starts right there, because true existence, true attainment, it comes with a lot of uncomfortableness. And it is my job to make sure they remain uncomfortable through this whole challenge. Because if you're uncomfortable, you're growing. Now, if you get comfortable, like in a relationship, that relationship starts dying. And I know that with my wife. I could tell, wow, we had some COVID challenges, because, part of who we are, we like to go out and wine and dine and eat. So when I had to figure out new ways. Let's go to the park. I had to be uncomfortable with, like, continue to court. And I think we have to court our dreams. We have to stay right there with it and find new ways of just keep drawing. And that's pretty much, that's the number one for me, Jana.
By the way, I could not agree with you more. Like, you're probably the 150th podcast I've recorded, and I'm still uncomfortable doing it. I still get nervous. And I thought the day that it comes that it's just flowing out of me, I'm probably going to be done. So I want to have that nervousness. I want to show up nervous and, like, be 100% like focused into it. So I agree with that uncomfortableness. And when we get complacent in the space we're in, we start dying, literally, mentally, physically. Everything just starts dying when we become complacent, and we don't want to press against those boundaries and stick our head into something new. How do people connect with you?
Well, we have the social media. I'm on Instagram, LaMont Shedrick. You can find me on Instagram. You go to my website, LamontShedrick.com. Or you can simply call me. That's how personable I am, and would go, because it's nothing. We're in a world where people don't connect anymore through voice anymore. And I'm old school. I love talking. I love hearing the story. So if you don't feel comfortable writing, you feel better talking to me, call me. This is how personal I am. I'll give you my personals, because I believe that Jana has nothing but winners that are partaking in what she's trying to do. And I want to attract the right person. So 818-223-7535. That's my personal cell. I can't pay any bills, but if you got a dream that you're uncomfortable with and you're serious, let's talk about it. And I would love to come alongside you. I like to have fun, you guys, as well. I believe chasing the dream, chasing whatever you're uncomfortable with, should be fun. You should have fun failing. There should be some fun in that. I did this podcast, LaMont, and, I called it 11th Century Fox. Who cares, Jana? Who cares? That's my attitude, because you know what? Wonderful is wonderful is wonderful. And you're a wonderful person, and I think you're doing a wonderful thing. And immediately when we met, that smile was infectious, and I was like, wow, that's who I am, because you attract who you are. And I'm like, wow, thank you, God. You attract. I love who she is, and I want it more. And I thank you for giving me this platform and this opportunity to share more about who I am.
Thank you so much. And we're going to put all of that in the show notes, including the number. And that's just what I love about you. I'm a show up coach too. Like I'm in their face, I'm hands-on, and I show up. The worst thing for me is when I'm trying to get to a certain point and I hire someone and they send me a bunch of videotapes and PDFs. And I'm like, what is this? Like, I wanted a person to help me. Like, I want to feedback. I want to read off of them where I'm going, you know? So I love that you do that. Thank you so much. We really are so grateful that you came on the show today. And I'm really excited for this to air.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. If I don't talk with you, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hear some people having virtual Thanksgiving, but you know what? Just spread love to whoever you have love in your life. And let's continue to allow our existence to make a difference.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. Make sure to visit Jana's website, bestholisticlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, or listen there, so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you simply tell a friend about the show, that'll help too. Let's change the world together, one health expert at a time. Looking forward to seeing you next time.